Okay, welcome to our fourth video in our series of tutorials for Google Apps for Education at Essendon Keilor College. So far we've had a quick look at classrooms and how we can add students and how we can share content and give them assessments and questions and all that sort of stuff. And we've had a quick look at Drive and how we can create folders and share content and all that sort of business, collaborative documents and that sort of stuff. Today we're going to have a quick look at forms. This is where you'll create your self-marking quizzes. So let's just click on Forms, and when this pops up, I'm just going to straight away click on Blank Quiz. Now, remembering that I've got one classroom and it's only got Anna Jackson in it, I'm just going to call this Anna's Quiz. Okay, and you can ask for a description. This is a quiz for Anna. I'll even give you a capital A, Anna. Okay, now it's just going to assume that my first question is multiple choice, so I click down where it says untitled question. It's given me multiple choice by default. We can change that. Now, it's kind of important that we do for our first question, because what we're going to do for the first question for every quiz that we have is we're going to have what is your name. And the reason we're going to do that will be apparent later, but we can link this to a spreadsheet. And that spreadsheet is then going to calculate or tabulate all of our data for us across the course of the year. So I'm going to say, what is your name? I'm going to make that a required question too. So I'm going to click down there. We don't need to worry about an answer key. We'll find out what that is in the next question, but that's where the self-marking comes in. But that's really all we need to do for this first one. What is your name? Okay, click on the plus. This time I want a multiple choice question. So I'm going to say, which is bigger, a car or a bike? Okay, option 1, car. Option 2, bike. You can just keep adding options. Elephant, etc., etc. We can keep adding them. We can have as many as we like. But this time there's definitely a correct answer for it. So I'm going to click on the answer key. Now the answer key is where we tell it what the question is worth and what the answer is. So I'm going to say this is worth 2 points. A car is bigger than a bike. And I'm going to put in some feedback. So in feedback I can say correct or incorrect answer feedback. So for incorrect, I'm sorry, but the answer was car. Correct feedback, congratulations, that was correct. I'm going to save that. Let's put that in there for me. So there it's got the two feedback options that we've put in there. It's worth 2 points. That question's done. Simple as that to create a multiple choice question. So we can continue making multiple choice questions, but this time what I'm going to do is let's have a linear scale. So how much do you enjoy school? And I can then label this from not at all through to immensely. Now again, we could have an answer key for this. It's not likely that you're going to need an answer key for a linear scale, so we won't worry about that. I will make it required though, so the student has to answer it. In fact, I don't think I did that for the last one, so if I want, I can just go back, click up there. No, maybe I did. Either way. So I can just click between the questions like that. I can also drag them around to change the order if I want to. But that is done straight away, that easily. So let's go and add, this time we're going to have checkboxes. So which of the following have you used? And I'm going to have A, B, C, D. Let's go down to E just to show you can do options. And again, if I really want to, if there's one of these is more correct, I can put that as an answer key. But again, with a checkbox, you're not likely to need an answer key. Now you notice here I can add images to all of these as well. So if I want to upload an image to a response, I can certainly do that. So you might have a question, which graph best represents this equation, and you can certainly create that in a multiple choice or whatever you like, and you can link your image. Again, I want this to be required. There's no points added to it because there's no point doing that. All right, it's a checkbox type thing. It's not something I'd have points allocated to. So let's go one more, and I'm going to do a short answer question. And which school do you attend? Now this time I'm going to actually put in an answer. So we're going to look at the answer key, and I'm going to give a few options here. It's going to say EKC and have Essendon Keilor College. Now I can't quite recall, but I think it might be case sensitive, so I might choose to have the non-case sensitive versions in there as well, or the non-correct cases in there. And I've given those 4 options. I'm going to say everything else is incorrect. Again, I can put in feedback if I want. I'm going to say that's worth 5 points. No, it's only let me do, no, there we go, 5 points. So that's worth 5 points. That is in there. I've said that every other question is incorrect, and that question now is in my quiz as well. So we, interestingly enough, can also add videos and the like as well. So right here, I just clicked on video on the side there, or the YouTube icon, and I'm just going to search psychology, for example, and search on that. And if I know there's a particular video I'm looking for, that'll do us. I'm just going to pick that and say select. And I might even choose to say the next 3 questions are about this video. Alright, and then I can add a question underneath it, multiple choice. Which of the following did you see in the video? And then I can have actually I've had checkbox here, so let's actually change that to multiple choice. A, B, C, and D. Let's say in this case, in the answer key, the D is correct. We want that to be worth 2 points. That's fine. Again, we can put the feedback in. I won't do that necessarily right now, but that is in there. That's ready to go. Now, let's just assume that that's all that I want to add. All right, so that quiz is done. Even though I've said the next 3 questions about the video, we don't need to write all of them. So I'm going to say that quiz is done. Now, I could choose to send this straight away. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go into responses. And in responses, there's this little green icon over here. And you can see what it says underneath it. It said add to spreadsheet. So I have 2 options here. So I can choose to create a new spreadsheet, or I can choose to select an existing spreadsheet. So I'm going to call this one Anna's Quiz Results. Now, if this was a classroom and I was teaching it all year, then I might have one spreadsheet that's, for example, Year 7 Maths, and then every time I do it, I click Select Existing Spreadsheet. It'll just create a new tab in that spreadsheet for me. But that's fine. Select Response Destination, New Spreadsheet, Anna's Quiz Results. I'm going to click Create. Now, what that does, that's created this spreadsheet for me here. Now, if I go back into here, click on Drive, it's actually created all this stuff for me. So there is Anna's Quiz Results. Now, one of these, this is the one here. It's still called Blank Quiz. Let me just rename that now. And I call that Anna's Quiz. Click OK. And what I'm going to do in here is, so this is back in the form section. So it's all been done. I've selected my spreadsheet. I've done all that. I say I'm accepting responses now. I've got all my questions ready to go. I'm going to click Send. Now this gives me options. I can email it to someone. I can try to embed it. So that's the embed code. So I can actually embed that into a web page. Or the easiest one for us is to get this link. Now, one of the great things I've done here, really small but really handy thing, if that link's too long and ugly for you, just click Shorten Link and it makes it nice and short there. I don't know why it doesn't shorten everything, but the option's there either way. So I'm just going to push Control-C to copy that, or I can click on Copy down the bottom there, and it's done that. And then I'm going to go into my classroom. So the classroom that I've set up, that Anna is the student in, I go into my classroom here, And just simply as an announcement, I'm going to have, please complete this quiz. Now I could choose to have it as, you know, an announcement or an assignment, whatever I chose to. This is nice and easy because I'm just sort of posting that in, and I'm going to say that this quiz is relevant to Area of Study 1. I can reschedule it for a different time, but I just want this to post now because I'm then going to go in and do this from Anna's point of view. So that's been posted. I'm going to swap over to Anna's profile now. Click on Classroom again. And then in Classroom, I click on my Google video tutorial class. And as you can see here, it says, please complete this quiz. So remembering I'm now looking at this from a student's perspective. Okay, so I come in here. My name is Anna. Which is bigger? A car is bigger. How much do you enjoy school? Immensely. Which, if the following, there's a typo for you. Which of the following have you used? Let's say I've used D, C, and A. Which school do you attend? EKC. Next 3 questions are about that video. I saw B in the video. I'm going to submit that now. Alright, so she submitted that. She can go straight away and view her score. So she got 7 out of 8. So there were 2 marks for that one there. These weren't marked. 5 out of 5 for getting EKC correct. And she got that last one wrong there. So it gives her instant feedback. Gives her her little feedbacks there. Congratulations, that was correct, etc., etc. That all sort of pops up directly in that platform for her to see. Now, for me as a teacher, if I want to, so I'm back in my profile, if I want to, I can click on there, and I believe this will come up with responses. I may be incorrect. I am actually incorrect. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to view this from my drive. Okay, so there's 2 ways I can look at this. In Anna's quiz, I can look at responses right here. Is that the wrong quiz? That is actually the wrong quiz. I set up 2 before, so bear with me. Test quiz, sample quiz, Anna's quiz. I think this is the correct one. Okay, so this is a quiz for Anna. So this is definitely the right one now. So what I can do is here, it says I've got 1 response. I can click in there. It will tell me what's been done. This is great once you've got a class full of responses because it will give you all those details there. So it breaks it down, what people answered, all that sort of stuff. So it breaks down every single question. You can actually look at that from a question by question basis, or you can look at that at an individual level as well. Now, this is obviously a little bit messy. I've got all these things called blank quiz because I've experimented with 7 or 8 of these. You guys will find it a lot easier to find the things that you're looking for because you'll set these up specifically. You won't be experimenting quite as much as I have with it. But I can obviously see where my spreadsheet is for that really easily. And that's what it's got in my spreadsheet. Now, not as interesting when there's only 1 in there. So let's go and have a look at a slightly larger one. So I had a couple that I'd done with groups. Let me find one of the bigger ones. Okay, so here's one with a few more responses, test quiz. So we can see in there. Now, you know, interestingly enough, if I wanted to, what we can do really simply, I can go in there, I can go into conditional formatting under format, and I can just go color scale, and I want this to tell me from good to bad, and I leave it at that, and it tells me, you know, what the best responses are, what the worst responses are. That's saying it's actually the wrong way around for my liking. It should be like that, as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, that sort of just gives me a really quick sort of look at what the results are. If I'd sent multiple forms to this, it would create multiple forms for me underneath, or multiple spreadsheets underneath. And it does also create, so this should have a few more responses, so that when I go into responses here, we can see I've had 7 people answer this one. So the graphs are a little bit more interesting. It sort of shows me, gives me a little bit more feedback about the quiz that was done. So that's a quick rundown of forms. So just really quickly again, we click on forms, we go create a blank quiz, we put all the bits and pieces in there, and then we're just sending our link directly to our classroom there, and our students will complete it from there. Alright, so next we will probably have a look at Google Groups and how it is that we can use that to create conversation in the classroom.